The President orders several UAE humanitarian foundations to coordinate emergency aid for those affected by the earthquake in Turkey. The head of Emaar speaks to Emirates News about the property giant's latest venture, which will see it build middle-income housing across the region. Bollywood actors Shah Rukh Khan, Kareena Kapoor and Arjun Rampal were in Dubai today for the world premiere of their latest superhero movie, Ra.One. And in sport, Mubadala announced their most impressive lineup yet for this year's World Tennis Championships in Abu Dhabi. Good evening, I'm Amir Al-Marzougi and welcome to Emirates News. The President, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, has ordered various humanitarian foundations and authorities in the country to coordinate and organize emergency aid for those affected by the devastating earthquake in eastern Turkey. The initiative comes within his commitment to supporting nations in need in times of catastrophe. The President also sent a cable of condolences to President Abdullah Gül of Turkey on the loss of lives due to the earthquake. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, and His Highness General Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces, also sent cables to the Turkish President. Time now for business with Greg Fairley. Greg, some exciting news for potential homeowners.
That's right, Amir. Not just here in the UAE, but across the wider Middle East. The number of families in the region with an annual income of over 100,000 dirhams is expected to double to 28 million by the year 2025. And it's that middle income market that Emaar Properties is looking to cater to with its newly formed subsidiary, Dawahi Development. Kimberly Leonard reports.
It's a firm more commonly known for its upscale developments. But with Emaar's latest venture, it's hoping to tap into the $150 billion earmarked by Arab governments to build middle-income housing across the region.
Arab governments have realized that there is an issue with housing in the region, and that's one of the main reasons of the change and the pressure on governments that you see. Therefore, governments have came forward and they put in budgets to really sort out the housing issue. But to be fair also, I think we in the private sector, we need to come in and support these governments by having the execution ability to execute, and it's a business opportunity as well for us. Not the same margin we used to, a much lower margin, but I think when you look at the volume of this business, it's really tremendous and it's huge.
This year, Saudi Arabia launched a multi-billion-dollar plan to build 500,000 homes, while Bahrain launched a nearly $7 billion plan to provide affordable housing. And it's that sort of a market that Dawahi Development will target, both here in the GCC and further afield.
If you were to look at value housing in Egypt and Morocco, it's completely different than value housing in UAE. Value housing probably in Morocco is a small apartment that will be in the $35,000 range, while in Egypt it will probably be around the same. While value housing in Saudi Arabia, UAE, it's a very small, possibly a villa that's 200 square meters, and probably a sale value of 650,000 dirhams.
Dawahi means neighborhood, and for Alabar, creating neighborhoods for middle-income earners is merely an extension of Emaar's long-term strategy.
The shortage is 5 million, and if you were to produce 40,000 homes a year, it will take you 100 years to satisfy demand, if demand stays as is, which is impossible. So I think we are staying within Emaar vision of creating communities, improving quality of life, enhancing shareholders' value, and looking at innovative sections.
Emaar's new venture will also go towards creating jobs across the region and is a move that has been in the pipeline for a while now.
We've been looking at value housing almost for 3 years. And to be honest with you, we almost bought a Mexican home builder who specialized in this 3 years ago. But we've been looking at this seriously now for over 18 months. The change in the landscape in the Middle East and the government's, of course, policies that are really pro value housing really encouraged us that there's a great opportunity. There is a need for governments to be supported, and we get involved with them and we'll be able to execute and fill the gap.
It's expected that some Dawahi model homes could be ready as early as next year. Kimberly Leonard, Emirates News.
Jumeirah Group is set to nearly double its global properties under management in a 14-month period. The company's executive chairman said the luxury hotelier will open new properties in Kuwait, Mallorca and Azerbaijan by early next year. And it's also eyeing opportunities in continental Europe. All total, Jumeirah will be managing 20 hotels by the end of the first quarter of 2012. Average room rates in Jumeirah's Dubai properties are currently up 5% and occupancy has increased by 6% compared to the same period last year. Impairment allowances against Dubai Holding restructuring have weighed on Emirates NBD third quarter net profits. Net profits reached 175 million dirhams against 424 million in the same period last year. Impairment allowances rose to 1.57 billion dirhams in the quarter compared with 1.24 billion dirhams this time last year. Net interest income rose 9.5% for the third quarter to 1.79 billion dirhams, while net fee and commission income was up 2.25% in the period at 420.6 million dirhams. National Bonds actively encourages the development of a savings culture in the region. However, up until last year, there were no conclusive statistics on people's attitudes towards saving and their saving habits in this region. Until now, that is. National Bonds recently released the 2011 GCC Savings Index. To tell us more about the findings, its CEO, Mohammed Al-Ali, is with us here on Emirates News. Mr. Al-Ali, a pleasure to see you once again.
Thank you.
Now, how can your GCC Savings Index act as a kind of a gauge for savings behaviour, do you think, then in this region?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, until last year, there was absolutely no data about the sentiments of people towards savings. So we've taken the initiative and we've launched the GCC savings campaign last year. Last year, of course, was the base. So this year is a comparison, and you can compare that whether the gauge has gone up or down. The most important features of the saving index is that, and it's a bit worrying to be honest, is that 90% of those who were surveyed said that they don't save enough for their future requirements. 1 out of 4 only save regularly, and that's another worry. Some of the features also that came out of the survey is that people in general save for education across the GCC, but there are 2 countries that came out with a different priority. For example, in Oman, the #1 reason for savings was saving for marriage. And in Saudi Arabia, the #1 reason for saving was saving to buy a property.
So how would you describe saving sentiment specifically in the UAE at the moment?
When we did the UAE index a few months back, 86% of those who surveyed weren't happy about their savings. This year versus last year, there was a drop. People, unfortunately, they get entangled into the way they live. They want to try to maintain their living, their living style, perhaps with, unfortunately, borrowing.
You mentioned education. How strategic do you think that is for this region and for people using their savings for education?
Education is the #1 priority for families in the GCC, and mainly the expats as well, because as you know, there is no subsidy for expats here in the GCC. It's the most important thing that you can invest in, especially for yourself or for the kids. That's why National Bonds, inshallah, in the near future will come up also with a saving plan for education.
National Bonds, it's described as a unique savings scheme. So, how would you say it's different from others that are out there?
Our value proposition is completely different from other financial institutions, and here I mean banks. Banks, they don't concentrate on savings, but they concentrate on lending. We are the only institution in the GCC that concentrates only on savings. Our value proposition is very simple. We are Sharia compliant. We have given over the last 4 financial years the best returns compared with comparative savings schemes. Our average return over the past 4 years was about 5%. We give from our own money, the Mudarib's money, the fund manager, the prizes that we give, including the 1 million jackpot. What we did also differently from other schemes is that we have arranged for a blanket life takaful cover for all our bondholders. So everybody from the 640,000 customers from 200 nationalities is entitled for a life cover from 5,000 dirhams up to 125,000 dirhams, besides the investment that they had and the prizes and the profit.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that, Mohammed Al Ali, CEO of National Bonds, for joining us on Emirates News.
My pleasure.
UAE markets ended mixed today. The DFM ended lower, with 13 stocks declining and 12 advancing. In Abu Dhabi, the general index saw 9 stocks advance while 8 declined. Here's a closer look now at today's markets and currencies. And for now, that is the very latest from the Emirates News Business Desk. Back to you, Amir.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay.
This January, the World Future Energy Summit in Abu Dhabi will focus on innovation as the key to creating commercially viable clean energy technologies. Under the theme of Powering Sustainable Innovation, the 2012 summit will also host high-level discussions on the current economic and political challenges for the sector. More than 26,000 attendees, including 3,000 heads of state, government officials, business leaders and academics, are expected to take part in the 4-day event. 650 companies and 20 national pavilions are set to exhibit their clean energy products from January the 16th to the 19th. Let's go to a break now, but still to come on the programme. We'll bring you the update on the effects of yesterday's earthquake in eastern Turkey and Dubai Health Authority's efforts to encourage and support the training of Emirati doctors. Stay with us for those stories after the break on Emirates News. And now back to Turkey. At least 260 people have been killed by the 7.2 magnitude earthquake which struck eastern Turkey yesterday. Rescue teams continue to search for trapped survivors. The UAE is not the only country to organize emergency aid for Turkey. Azerbaijan, Iran and Bulgaria have each sent aid despite Turkey's insistence that they can go it alone. Madataha reports.
Hundreds confirmed dead, thousands are injured and many more are missing. This is the picture Turks were faced with after the dust from fallen buildings had settled.
Around 1,300 people are injured. We will keep you informed with regards to health facilities offered to victims. All of injured victims are being treated carefully.
Authorities say over 1,000 rescue teams from 38 provinces were sent to the eastern region, and troops were also assisting in search and rescue efforts. They worked throughout the night in search of dozens of survivors they believe are still trapped under the rubble. This footage shows a survivor being dug out from the ruins of a building in the city of Van today. But it still doesn't seem to be enough.
Look at this building. This was a tall family building and no one came out alive. Look at its state now. Even after 24 hours, there is no rescue team around. I urge the government, I urge the rescue team to come and help us as soon as possible. Help us now.
More than 100 aftershocks were recorded in eastern Turkey within 10 hours of the quake. Authorities advised people to stay away from damaged houses, warning that they could collapse in the aftershocks. Residents spent the night outdoors and lit campfires, while 8 groups began setting up tents and kitchens to assist the thousands left homeless. Mada Taha, Emirates News.
Meanwhile, in Thailand, an update for another natural disaster. Floodwaters have engulfed Bangkok to reach Don Muang Airport, one of the Thai's capital's 2 main air hubs. Don Muang has also been the headquarters for flood relief operations, which may have to move to another location. Elevated highways in the city turned into massive parking lots as motorists search for safe places to park their vehicles. The Raja Mangala National Stadium and Thammasat University are also being used as shelter by thousands of flood victims. These are the worst floods to hit Thailand in 50 years. The floods have killed at least 350 people to date and are affecting more than 2.5 million people. Now it's time for tonight's number in the news, which is 217. The Dubai Health Authority has recruited 217 Emirati doctors and provided them with enhanced educational opportunities. The doctors have been enrolled in various medical specialities, including emergency medicine, gynecology, general surgery, internal medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, dentistry, and family medicine. The doctors will get an opportunity to undertake a 1-year internship program and later a 4 to 5 year specialization medical residency program. Experts from around the globe can now submit their research papers for inclusion in the 3rd International Architectural Conservation Conference and Exhibition in Dubai. The 3-day event will gather some of the world's leading architecture, heritage and conservation specialists. UAE Building Heritage Week will run alongside the conference to honour heritage sites and traditional architecture across all 7 Emirates. The event will take place from December the 17th to the 19th and will include an exhibition, competitions and various other activities. It's time for another short break now, but still to come. Find out how you can volunteer to walk amongst the stars on the red carpet at this year's Dubai International Film Festival. And in sport, the world #1 will join Nadal and Federer in December's Mubadala Tennis Championships in Abu Dhabi. Stay with Emirates News. Welcome back again. The Dubai International Film Festival will hold a 3-day volunteer recruitment event at Knowledge Village next month. The first session, taking place on the 12th of November, will be open to UAE nationals only. Volunteers who have worked at previous DIF events will be asked to go the following day, and new applicants can join the last session on November the 14th. Volunteers will fill hundreds of positions within various departments, including theatre operations, red carpet assistants, box office and guest relations. DIF will run from December the 7th to the 14th. Bollywood actors Shah Rukh Khan, Kareena Kapoor and Arjun Rampal were in Dubai today for the world premiere of their latest superhero movie, Ra.One. Complete with special effects and 3D conversions, it's India's most awaited and most expensive film to date. A press conference was organised by Esar Events at the Grand Hyatt, along with a charity dinner after the premiere, with proceeds going to Rashid Paediatric Centre. Ra.One will be unveiled to the rest of the world in 2 days' time. Graham Clues joins us now for today's sport. Graham, some big names coming up to Abu Dhabi's tennis championship.
Yes, the Mubadala World Tennis Championships, they always have a great lineup, but this year they've just raised it up another notch. More in a second. First, we start with the goals from last night's only Pro League match, where bottom club Dubai were hoping to get their first points of the campaign. And things looked good for them when Kamara slotted home neatly at the near post after 60 minutes. But opponents Al Shabab showed why they looked like title contenders this year as Julio Cesar nodded in the equaliser with 10 minutes to go. It ended 1-1, so a point each. The Dubai Council is currently holding its second international symposium for sports creativity. Staged at Festival City, the event attracts hundreds of local and international professionals and is designed to boost creative thinking in sporting establishments and to share expertise and ideas from world leaders in sport. Tennis now, and this morning the organisers of this year's Mubadala World Tennis Championships in Abu Dhabi revealed the lineup for December's competition, and this time the world #1 will be making his first appearance in the capital. One of the defining features of this championship is how close fans can get with their playing heroes. This year's tournament offers another 6 stars of the game. Alongside popular players David Ferrer, Joe Wilfried Songa and Gael Monfils, fans at the tennis stadium in Zayed Sports City will also be treated to returning superstars Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. And announced at this morning's press conference, for the first time, world #1 Novak Djokovic will be trying to lift the trophy and claim the $250,000 winner-takes-all prize.
To have 3 of the world's top 4 players and 3 other players who are phenomenally good as well. You know, Monfils having won yesterday in Stockholm obviously is a great boost for his end of season form. But you know, we continue the tradition of having the best field that we possibly can. To add the world #1 with Djokovic is a real pleasure.
For the title sponsors, it also represents an ongoing commitment to increase awareness and participation of the sport across the UAE.
Mubadala started investing in tennis last year, so what we've done is a lot of initiatives. We've partnered up with schools, so we've introduced tennis in schools last year with 25 schools and this year 40 schools. In addition, we do tennis community nights, so we're engaging parents and other community members to participate and play together. So it's learning and at the same time you're having fun.
And for a lucky few, there is the real chance to play in front of a packed house.
We then have a skills challenge that we're going to have in November for all of those kids. Those kids will play center court on day 1 in front of 5,000 people, so that'll be really exciting for them. We have the Mubadala Community Cup, which takes place in November for bigger kids and for adults, so they have the opportunity then, not just by winning or by being a runner-up, but also by trying their hardest to then be in a star player clinic during the championship.
Although staged just a few weeks before the first Grand Slam of the ATP season, the Australian Open, don't think that the players will merely be going through the motions in Abu Dhabi.
People said that the first year, and then they saw a 2-hour and 45-minute final match. So that's pretty much says it all. These guys take it very seriously. Again, 3 weeks away is the Australian Open. So, you know, they're here to, that's the end game, is to be as competitive as possible in the Australian Open. You don't do that by taking it easy. And these guys, they don't understand halfway. I mean, when they get on the court, it's all, and you know, the winner wins $250,000. So that's a pretty good incentive in itself.
The Mubadala World Tennis Championships runs from the 29th to the 31st of December, and tickets go on sale at thinkflash.ae at midday tomorrow. New Zealand have been parading their Rugby World Cup trophy through the streets of Auckland after their 1-point victory over France in yesterday's final. Playing on their home turf, anything less than a victory would have been a disappointment for the rugby-mad Kiwis. So naturally, thousands lined the streets to catch a glimpse of the squad and, of course, that all-important World Cup trophy. It's a moment that both the players and the nation will never forget.
Captain coach, they head up Wellesley Street to the conclusion.
It's pretty awesome. I'm blown away by the amount of people around, but it's such a small little trophy, but what it means is huge, and it's just pretty cool.
So many people to come out, it's awesome. They've been supporting us all tournament, so for them to come out like this and enjoy it, it's awesome.
And in golf, world number one Luke Donald has taken a great stride towards making history. His win at the Disney Classic last night means he is now confirmed to top the US PGA money list for the season. And with a healthy lead in the European Tour's race to Dubai as well, an historic double triumph is now very much within his grasp. Although he seemed off the pace going into the final round, a stunning 6 birdies on the last 9 holes ensured the US season is his. If he now goes on to win the race to Dubai this December, he will become the first player in history to top both money lists in one season. But a former world number 2 may have something to say about it. Sergio Garcia powered to his first win in 3 years after finishing the Castello Masters, his home tournament in Spain, an incredible 27 under par, 11 shots ahead of his nearest rival. Both will be in action at the Dubai World Championship in December. There you go, that's your sport.
Yeah, that'll be one to see then.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah. Thank you. And now for a roundup of tomorrow's forecast highs. And here's another look at tonight's main stories. The President orders several UAE humanitarian foundations to coordinate emergency aid for those affected by the earthquake in Turkey. The head of Emaar speaks to Emirates News about the property giant's latest venture, which will see it build middle-income housing across the region. Bollywood actors Shah Rukh Khan, Kareena Kapoor and Arjun Rampal were in Dubai for today's world premiere of their latest superhero movie, Ra.One. And in sport, Mubadala announced their most impressive lineup yet for this year's World Tennis Championships in Abu Dhabi. And on that, we end tonight's programme. If you miss an episode of Emirates News and would like to catch up, as always, you can watch it online at dmi.ae/Dubai1. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email us at emiratesnews@dubai1.ae. You can also join us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. We're at Emirates_news. On behalf of the entire news team, thanks for watching, take care and good evening.